little more. Or like Discordia would be really good, but
Yeah,
nobody cares about that character.
I mean,
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Smite Little League. It's the second week, and we're back with some more European action. Myself, Illy, alongside me, SuperSonicBlur, are going to take this away into some P's and B's this time, since we've got some delay spectate coming in.
Indeed, we do.
And well, we've started off. It was the first band phase. Giannis, Cirquet, Artemis, Hebo.
Very reasonable bands coming through.
I really do enjoy the Artemis ban, and I enjoy the Giannis ban from Rice Baby. It's on the order side, and then on the chaos side over there, the artist formerly known as Spugg Squad.
That is correct. They stuck with the name. Yes. They decided that, hey, it sounds better than Team 3. So never let it be said that casters don't have an impact on the game.
Exactly. No, we gave them a sense of identity. That's worth something. But no, I do enjoy the bans, and the picks were Achilles into Serb Hunbots. Obviously, Spugg had a great game on the Hunbots the other day. Into Scylla, Athena, then a Ra on the last pick. Surprising, you did mention there was no Odin picks, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, I mean, we mentioned it first with the first pick going the way of Achilles, and then Spugg's squad immediately responded with Humbats and the Kerberos there. We were both looking at this Kerberos thinking, hey, we know that Chiron can play this. We know that they're all right with it. It gives them a good bit of pressure. But we then ended up seeing the Aura picked up as well to go with it. Instead, they decide to last pick this Geb for the support role. And I'm looking at this and thinking, you want to fight. Toothless wants to fight early, and you gave him a Geb to do that with. Like,
no,
that could have been pressure. And then Odin could have fun with Afro. Well, I say have fun.
Feel like, I feel like the Geb pick was very, very interesting, right? Because Ull wants to fight early, like you said. And this Athena Medusa can be outcleared if you're not careful.
Well, we'll just have to see exactly how they're going to do with that. I'm looking at Mystic, personally. We've seen this guy, when it comes to the late game, he'll be more than happy to go in and get himself set up. He's raring and ready to go with that. But now we're giving him the Ra, so same idea with these ults, but it can just happen so much earlier.
No, and I really did like the Ra pick here into this matchup, because you were leaving a lot of sustained characters on the table. The Chang'e was still up, the Afro was still up, so you needed something to be able to at least match, maybe not match it, but at least hold up to it.
Yeah, I mean, we know that he can play the Scylla, so as well, this is also going to work for him with regards to knowing those intricacies and in and outs. If you know how to play a character, you can get into that mindset. If I'm a Scylla, I want to be looking to do this. So you can kind of end up countering them because you know them so well. And I really am looking to see what Mystic and Spugg can do to really pressure out this mid.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Mystic is on Ra, and Ra has some of, not the best, but has some pretty good level 1 push. But to combat that, JTA has decided to go for the Book of Thoth, or perhaps a Soul Reaver rush on Scylla, which, I mean, that book gives you a lot of power, and that can really help you out clear really early.
Yeah, and it also as well just helps her curve into a little bit more power. If you talk to Pretty Prime, then what
she will make you care about that
Pretty
character.
Prime will.
She will make you care.
He hates Mage's Blessing. He thinks that the item is just garbo. He won't pick it up. He actively hates buying that item. So whenever he can, he will look to just buy something else, a tier 2 of something. And in this case, even if it goes into the Book of Thoth, that early power spike is just going to do huge amounts for this Scylla early, I feel. Of course, it could just be Soul Reaver.
It could be Soul Reaver, and that's something we got to look at as well, because there is a Ra on the field. You know, you want to try to burst people through healing, if you can help it, because you don't want them to sustain back through. Soul Reaver does obviously a lot of burst damage. That's what it does. It's 35 or 30 magical power.
It's 130 power with it that comes out initially, but like you said, and I think that's one of the ways that you can look to try and deal with burst. It's a little bit more hit and miss, the idea of if we just burst them down fast enough, they don't get to live. But Ra is one of those few that you can do that with. And because you have Aphrodite as well, even if you're like, we didn't kill them, we poked them out, you will heal up faster than the Rakan in terms of just one player. So you can be re-aggressing, and they've got a lot of potential to keep going back in and out, which is really, really nice.
But you got to be careful. If you play the sustain game too hard, eventually Aphrodite is going to pick somebody and keep things rolling.
Yeah, it does seem that that's going to be the case. Just going to cut it a little bit quick here. We do have a bit of a syncing issue right now, so we'll be right back just seeing if we can get that sorted, ladies and gentlemen.
Minions have spawned here in this game, and we're getting back into the action. Sorry about the brief pause there. We were talking about a lot of mid-pressure before the break, and I think that's going to be a really good spot to be looking in this game to see how it goes.
Indeed. Well, take a quick look over the duo lane. We do get to see the Earth emote come out from Kyra, having a little bit of fun. You gotta use it. If you've got it, you've got to use it. It's so good. I like that emote.
This lane is going to be super tricky, though, for Geb, because Geb definitely gets outcleared by Athena, but slightly outclears Medusa, so...
I think it's going to come down as well who gets poked in these wave clears, and I feel that favors Medusa just a little bit more, just because Acid Spray is so difficult to not get hit by. It's really difficult to not get hit by that ability.
Your Geb Shockwave is going to hit everybody as well, though, and your Uller 1 can hit everybody, and Athena 3 really cannot smack anybody, you know?
Yeah, if you take the full damage from it, it's a surprisingly large amount that does come out. You see mid, little bit of pressure going the way of Rice Baby. We're going to see the invade come out. Jack Frosty is going to get that solo invade on the red buff, which really is good work as Humbat, Spugg. You got chunked there, mate.
Like, now this is really good. Achilles is actually going to rotate. He's looking for the level 2 gank here on the dual lane. I'm not sure if they see it coming or not.
Doesn't look like it so far. It's being pinged out, though. I think that, Chiron threw out the wave as well. He knew it was happening. I have a feeling that Spugg, as soon as he saw the red had been invaded, be like, guys, they've done red buff. Be careful over on left. So that's what's going to happen. But meanwhile, mid lane.
First blood in the mid lane onto Mystic Megatron. Mystic was struggling in the early game. on his Scylla. I'm kind of afraid if his Ra is doing the same thing.
Looks like it. Well, I think that's one of those things. Jack's like, well, guess I can't find a kill over here. I'll just go mid lane and pick one up instead.
Oh, Spugg in the left lane, though, blinking into the Athena. The dash is already down, but Ulak's off the mark there. No turnaround kill potential in duo.
And a lot of poke put out onto Toothless and Spugg as well. They're going to be careful when they want to do it. There's nothing really for the Humbats to go and farm up right now. So he's actually going to be forced back to base at level 2. Yeah, this opens up a lot of opportunity for Jack Frosty to really strut and stretch his legs right now.
Yeah, Jack Frosty is going to have a huge lead right now. Like you mentioned, he solo invaded red, getting that experience. He's just done blue. He's done his speed. He's killed his backs. Duo lane, a little bit of action. But yeah, I mean, Jack Frosty's got a big lead on the Hunbots, and if there's something you don't want to be behind on in experience, it's a Hunbots, because you really need to hit level 5 very early.
Indeed. Well, just coming up to the 3-minute mark as the game reasonably quiet in all areas except that mid lane, and all from Jack Frosty playing this Achilles. There's a lot of damage going through mid lane. Just again, are we going to see a wraparound again? Does get
He's looking for the red buff invade, but he doesn't have mid pressure right now. His Scylla's completely and there's a wave pushing. The Ra and the Hunbots are going to rotate to this, and I think Jack Frosty's got to back off.
Oh, well, we saw him try this last time. This time, he will be able to get off and get a good stun onto the Geb. No real follow-up available. Puts him to around 50% HP, but
they're doing this.
They need to get something. They need to do this. Well, yeah, Jack Frosty is anyway. The rest of the duo lane isn't actually pushing right now.
Well,
good news though for Spugg.
Though.
Good news for Spugg. They do manage to get their red buff this time, and still looking for it. Athena actually dashes in, get pushed under 100 HP right now, as is Aura as well. Unfortunate that wasn't able to confirm just enough damage for the Medusa, but pushing both of the enemy players under 100 HP, forcing them to back. That's a win. That's a win.
And this isn't a brute wave either, so that first minion is not gonna take those extra tower shots. They're gonna probably lose 4 or 5 creeps to tower now.
It's a pretty disgusting situation. Rooster even manages to come in and pick up. Even managed to come in and pick up the buff, though unfortunately Kerberos does manage to get back out of the range, but doesn't land the Stygian Torment. A lot of damage put out on the contrast, but that really needed to hit. That really, if that had hit, that would have been a turnaround kill. Frosty would be dead because Humbats would have turned up. He needed the ult
in response to the fatal strike from the Achilles, but just a little bit late on that Stygian Torment. Like you mentioned, shirtless Achilles is a very speedy boy. Hunbot's Spugg is still sitting at level 4. Meanwhile, at nearly 5 minutes into this game, he's really got to find some farm somewhere, or he's going to fall dangerously far behind.
Indeed, and this is one of those important things. Yeah, Jack Frosty may have had ult first, but the impact that those 2 ults are going to have, Spug's is just astronomically bigger in terms of a team fight. Right. If you're looking for a singular pick, then it's kind of a toss-up, 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Which one you personally would feel better? For me, I'm still going to say Humbats ult. It just is more important.
Athena taunt and Medusa ult on the left-hand side, but nothing else coming out of that. The Geb rollout. I think these guys are just slapboxing with the Medusa ult down. She doesn't have trans finish. There's not a huge amount of power coming out of this Medusa at the moment.
Asserting dominance as we reach now, at least. 5.5 minute mark. Well, just shy of, or over, I should say. Dash taunt is good onto the Aura, but unfortunately, Amzi was just too far away to really follow it up. I feel like Rooster needs to communicate either I'm going to be going in, like Spugg is probably doing right now. Spugg is saying, hey guys, I'm here. If I go in, can you follow up? Unfortunately,
the answer is no.
Yeah, there's no one to follow up right now, which is just a little awkward of a situation.
Invade on the red buff again. Achilles going to...
This is a collapse, though.
One away. This is a 4-man rotation. He got it. Jack Frosty got it, but he might pay with his life. There's the Athena coming out. The Hunbots jumping in with the gigantic Fear No Evil. Scylla is deleted.
Geb, though, will fall in response. One and another one for Jack Frosty. Or is it Jack Frost the second? Doesn't matter. He comes away with a triple kill. Now looking for the Ra, but he's way too low to be taking that and taking an additional 20% damage. You can't afford to eat those tower shots. They will, however, look to try and take this pressure and get themselves a Gold Fury.
This is good, decisive shot calling from Rice Baby right now. That maybe this Gold Fury is too greedy. You know, maybe
they can tank this effectively. Okay, now they can't. They have to get off it.
All of them
Yeah, you can't have your Medusa tanking that. If you're gonna tank that, you need to have one person over. You have to have two people other side of the Gold Fury pit to run it backwards and forwards. But now Spugg's squad, they chased off anyone, and instead they're gonna pick it up themselves. And everyone's health bar is looking a lot better. Sikkim off the mark. Geb Shield just to keep some health bars going, and instead they will leash off this Gold Fury. Maybe a little bit too early for where these teams are looking to try and fight.
I would have really liked to see Spuggy Boys there try to invade the red buff off of that. I'm going to call it a pick, but it was really more of a mistake from Rice Rice Baby. But they didn't, right? So they pull gold, they don't get anything from it. So it's okay.
It's something from somewhere.
Right. You got punished, and they didn't get anything, and I think that's a full stop right there.
Interesting to see Toothless. A lot of Wolves usually go for the Transcendence, but he's actually opting to go for the Devourer's Gauntlets.
It's exactly backwards.
Yeah, it is completely backwards. I mean, Medusa, you can, again, make an argument for either way. Personally, I will always prefer... Yeah, I personally prefer Devos just for the raw sustain, but the early amounts of damage and that power spike of you hit really hard at this point in the game, if you can land all 3 shots from Viper shots, you basically just like 100 to 0.
Speed buff though. Jack Frosty is solo invading the speed buff.
Oh no!
Moonbot's ultimate's gonna come out. Jack Frosty did confirm it. He's 2v1ing, and I think he might get punished for this.
Raul doesn't do anything. It gives him enough time for Defender of Olympus to come through. Blink for blink. Achilles does still get pushed very low, but Spugg will find it. Over the wall. Crash from J-Tar will secure it. Sickums now hits the Kerberos. 2-man Stygian Torment. And the follow-up for the Petrifying Spit is good. But though can't really stick around, Kerberos. We'll just try and chase them. I mean, that is in a dog's nature to just chase people.
Punishment there in favor of Spug Squad. Going for the solo red buff invade, unable to find enough as the Geb's gonna roll in all the way in solo lane right now. Devil's coming out, but Undying Love I think might be enough.
He caught the dash, Petrifying Spit! Ooh, very, very close to getting a kill there. I like the fact that Chiron made that rotation. I like the fact that he went for that all-in commit of, hey, look, just there's someone still here, I can ult them, we can do a lot of damage to them. This is one of those awkward situations where if that Kerberos had pen shoes, that probably would have been a kill just because of the amount of protections that Roosteroo doesn't have.
Regardless, I think cooldown boots are probably still correct.
Oh yeah, they're always going to be better. It's one of those.
Speaking of builds, though, talk to me about what Aphrodite's building right now. Into the Voidstone first item on Aphrodite.
I mean, if you want to be defensive, it still works fairly well in terms of what she's looking to do. If she's trying to... If she gets dove because you're the Aphrodite, this is going to enable her to stay tanky.
Left lane, though, Athena going to clean up Toothless in the 2v1. The Athena taunt must have gotten beads, followed up with a quick Medusa dash, Medusa ult, and boom, that's one dead Ool.
Very good work there. So just to go back as what you were asking with, it's to try and make sure that if she's getting dove by any of, by like Contrast or Chiron, she can be defensive and also as well deter them from doing so because she has some penetration with regards to it. It's still a good bit of power and a good bit of health. So we used to see this a lot come out when it was the Guardians who really wanted to try and dive for this stuff, but it works just as well if you're getting dove, I feel.
So far, I think there's been a fair amount of dominance from Rice Baby, especially in the mid lane currently. Jack Frosty sitting 2 levels up on Spugg, JTA sitting 2 levels up on Mystic, and this is a pretty scary look if you're going for the Hoonbots and the Ra.
Jack Frost, another one onto Spugg, was able to follow his leap with the ultimate and secure the damage for it. 2v2 now. Over on the left-hand side, make that a 3v2 as Defender of Olympus' channel. Stygian Torment comes out, trying to throw the Achilles back, but the Raro is just off the mark. Jata turns up and cleans Contrast up, and now it's on to Mystic Megatron being chased out and chased away from this Pyromancer.
0 for 2 right now in favor of Rice Baby. They're going to pull the Pyro, and I think they're going to be able to get this for free. Well, not for free, but...
They're going to get this. They paid in advance by earning themselves those 2 kills. So Pyromancer does go their way. It's really impressive to see the use from Roosteroo holding that ultimate. I thought they'd used it over when they were killing Medusa, who's having a bit of a boxing match with the All, sitting a level up, but still coming away worse for wear in that. But I've got to see these raw rolls. The timing on that raw roll was way too late. Way too late.
I think right now the story of this game is one jungler is farming better than the other jungler, and whether that's you've got pressure in lanes that allows him to do that, or whether that's just because his jungle rotation is better and he got an invade off early, which threw off Spugg. Jack Frosty's really giving him the hands right now, and the Swinbots is falling way far behind. He's going for Transcendence as well, so he's going to have late penetration to come into these fights.
Indeed, and already a Brawler's Beat Stick finish for Jack Frosty. Went straight into it. No ifs, ands, or buts. Just, I see you have a healer. Let's just get rid of that potential and just make sure that there's no comeback potential for Spug Squad. We'll take a small penance for getting those oracles in the form of their tower. Medusa Petrifying Gaze is good, puts a lot of damage into Humbats, but the follow-up still isn't there. 3 members now chasing down 2. Sprint was popped, but the teleport was good with the Monkey Hammer. Sorry, not the ultimate. The Confound is better.
Basically an ultimate, right?
May as well be. Meanwhile, over in the mid lane, 2 people dive over for Mystic Megatron, and he falls down. Another mid tower is going to fall.
You do something in duo, I'll do something in mid. That's the motto there for Rice Baby. Contrast gonna clean up Jack Frost there, who's tanking the mid T1 to kill it.
That's a lot of damage.
Kills everywhere.
That's not even a meme. That's just a lot of damage. I think if I did the maths a while ago, but you hit 4 times the instance of damage, and it does like 20% less. So it does 100 plus 80 plus 60 plus 40. Like, that's still hitting for like 2.5, 3 times the amount that it says on the tooltip. That is a devastating ability. And if that's not enough, it also stuns. It's dumb. It's dumb.
Seems pretty good.
It's just a dumb ability. Admittedly, it's not necessarily the easiest thing to hit. Contrast was right on the edge of Jack Frosty for there. So it was a good play from him, more so than it was for Jack Frosty's misplay there. It's just tanked up that tower a little too long.
Right now, I really want to see Rice Baby group up and try to force this Gold Fury. They've got vision. Yeah. The Oracle vision for Spug Squad has vanished.
Oh my god. Did you see how much damage
There's
that
the ultimate coming out. Idle Monster cleans up Spug as the Gap's gonna roll in. No Cataclysm yet. Achilles diving Mystic in the backline.
Link, just to get the Scylla out to safety, will dash aggressively. Ra uses the Aegis to buy himself some time. Axe Stamp from Aura, putting out some damage. Crush off the mark this time. Confound looking to try and confirm more damage, but Scylla really doesn't have anything. That's a good 3-man Cataclysm, but there's no follow-up. Spug Squad, where is it?
The Medusa with the Petrifying Gaze almost deleting Uhl is on the backside. Contrast has rotated. He's going to clean up J2A.
Good work there. Medusa's still in this, but now it's all about that sustain. Achilles actually blinks in very low on health, looking for this Ra. Can't confirm much more damage. Humbats blinks and gets a brilliant Fear Not Evil. Fears away all 3 people and isolates Jack Frosty. He got given the cold shoulder there. Now Contrast still was looking to try and deal with this Medusa, but Rocket's here healing them up, as Aphrodites do.
Cerberus, though, continuing the chase. Petrifying Spit just off the mark. And there are 4 people still standing, or 5 people still standing, excuse me, on the side of Spug Squad, and only 3 on the side of Rice.
Don't you just love sustain comps? Don't you just love it? Rice Baby.
When a team plays it well.
Rice Baby could have been like, all right, look, we're okay. We can maybe like fight if they do something stupid. And then they just go and have Ra heal. And everyone's at over 50% HP. Gold Fury is going all right for them. Aphrodite looking to try and steal it. Did put the dubs on it, but Searing Pain will secure it. This fight, though, could be another story. Humbats doesn't have ult available for it, so it's just going to be a complete disengage. I want to see Rice Baby try and get something here if they're going to try. They have to do it soon.
They're able to secure their own red buff, though, and I'm not sure if they can chase or not. Aphrodite and Athena linked up looking at Contrast, but that is a very, very tanky level 16 Cerberus. At 16 minutes into the game, excellent job farming from that character.
And they can't even go Pyromancer. Pyromancer has just now spawned, but if they don't go to it straight away, Spug Squad are going to be able to contest that if they so intend to. Instead, they're just going to back up and buy up. 2 aura items completed now for this Geb. And I like this, especially if he's going to be sat more in the back line, which he has been for a lot of these engagements.
Going for the pin shoes though on the Geb, and I'm
yeah, that's a no. That's a no from me, dog.
Yeah, no. As somebody who really loves Geb, I do enjoy trolling around in some Clash games with a full damage Geb build that has pin shoes in it. As Hunbots though, Spugg's on the right side. Fatal Strike going to come out just off the mark. Jack Frosty unable to confirm the kill.
Well, now we do get to see Geb roll out, knocks Aphrodite into a corner, so she can't get any healing, but Defender of Olympus was channeled, and now it's a 3-on-4 around the back. Aura is making his way, Scylla is as well, but a huge Stygian Torment picks up 2. Ra ult is good to confirm more damage as Finna Evil spreads everyone out. Scylla, though, blinks in, destroys Spugg in response for it. Now repositions himself into the backside. I'm a monster. He isn't able to hit anyone, and the tier 1 tower is still up. They're pinned now.
They're pinned, and Medusa split pushing the left lane. This might be okay for Rice, even though they're going to lose this fight in the right.
Yeah, they need to make sure they don't lose anyone else here. Do end up losing Rooster as well, but a huge...
Ooh.
That's disgusting. I'm sorry, that's actually disgusting.
No, honestly, the Scylla's done a ton of damage right now. Now it's a 2v2 with a healer on both sides, but one healer is level 16, the other is level 13. J2A is gonna crush Toothless to the ground as Medusa.
I'm sorry, that's not a 2v1. That's not a 2v1. What are you chatting about there? One of them just immediately disappeared. They were erased from the game there.
Spugg's in the left lane, gonna go ahead and stop Amusing? I don't know. Medusa, there we go, I can say that word. From split pushing down the Phoenix, though, he did get about a fourth of the health down. That was a crazy, interesting fight, right? Because both teams were fighting for something. One of them was fighting for Pyro, and the other was fighting for a tier 2 tower, and one of them got what they wanted.
Well, if you have a look at the graphs, when in doubt on who won that fight, take a look at the graphs. And given by the fact that it does shoot up quite drastically, I'd say that, yep, yeah. Rice Baby come away with a nice play. I couldn't think of a rhyme for baby.
I think that was pretty good, honestly. I was sitting on nothing, so you have it in my books there. But for what it's worth, though, Spugg being 3 levels down has still had an impact in this game. Actually, Jack Frosty's trying to show off his Achilles, knocks Spugg down to under half HP at his own speed buff.
I mean, it's showtime. You've got to put on a show. That's literally the point of the ability. Is it showtime? You pop that, you show off.
Is it? That's
yeah, these 2 is called Showtime. Well, I don't think it's not actually called Showtime, but it may as well just be called Showtime. It's actually Radiant Glory, but Showtime sounds better. I believe aggro is the reason why I call it Showtime. Geb eating a lot of damage here. 1 second, 1 crush. Ultimate is good for disengage. I'm a monster off the mark, and Jack Frosty will clean it up instead with the execute.
Jack
no
Frosty
one.
Looking at the backline here. Ulak's good stun coming out from Toothless to stop the aggression.
4-man Stygian Torment is big, and a 4-man, actually 5-man Fear No Evil sets up Mystic Megatron for the Rast Knight, puts through a load of damage, but it's just not good enough. Members from Rice Baby are just too tanky. 1 falls in exchange for 3, or are forced to disengage. Beads and Aegis still now on cooldown, and he's going to fall back to base the hard way.
That fight was very good from Spugg Squad if they were even.
Yeah,
but they weren't.
They were even. That's a 5-man Fear No Evil. That's every jungler's wet dream. Is a 5-man Fear No Evil. But the problem is that Mystic Megatron literally had to decide, I can hit one of them, because everyone was dispersing in a different direction. So he had to make a choice. Did pick up the Medusa, which I think was the right call there. But because everyone else is so disjointed, it's very difficult to then focus down the rest of the damage there.
Rice Baby gonna take that cleanly won fight, secure the Fire Giant for themselves. It's about a 10,000 gold lead in favor of Rice Baby at the moment, and this game looks like an uphill struggle to get back into it.
So where did this start going all wrong for Spugg Squad? Because you look at the graphs and it's all right. They've got a bit of a lead. Then suddenly it just shoots up, and Rice Baby are winning every team fight.
Well, it goes back to the very early game. It may sound silly, but there was an easy solo red invade from Jack Frosty that put Spugg behind, and Spugg has stayed behind. When your jungler's behind, it's very hard for a mid laner to farm effectively because you can't really contested farm like mid camps or oracles. Sometimes you get your back camps invaded or your red buff invaded. You find it harder to position. You find it harder to place proper wards, and it's scary. You really find it hard to play effectively when your jungler is behind as a mid laner, especially one without an escape.
Indeed. Well, just want to talk a little bit on Jata's build here. I actually think that if you're going to buy Polynomicon, Scylla is one of the few which makes a fair bit of sense. You throw out Crush, immediately follow it with a basic attack. They've got reduced protections. They take a load of damage. It also as well will help with this tower pressure because Polynomicon procs on structures, which is insane.
Pushing this one down. They don't need the minion wave. Spugg squad doesn't look like they want to defend this. Mystic Megatron has decided to go for a Rod of Asclepius here, and I have to disagree because he's too far behind. He burst, right? He needs to be.
Indeed, it's why we see Spugg decide, hey, look, I just know I need to get penetration. I need a Brawler's Beat Stick. Probably should have got it over to CDR, but I can understand the reasons for CDR. Geb Cataclysm blinks in, hits 2, forces people from Rice Baby back, but they have Fire Giant sustain and an Aphrodite, so that's a big commitment from Spugg squad, so easily dismissed.
Yeah, a little bit of miscommunication there, probably looking for the raw ultimate off of the Geb Blink ult, but I really think it's probably smarter just to wait until they try to commit to Phoenix. But no harm, no foul. You still got 2 other Blinks. You're not lacking for engage. Geb can still look just to sit back and feel.
That is very true. And if you're on Spugg squad, where is your target selection at? Is it you want to be looking at the Scylla? Is it the Medusa? Which are you screaming, that's the guy we kill?
Honestly, Achilles. Achilles is the one that's diving you, and you can't kill their backline until you manage to get through their assassin and through their warrior, and they don't have a warrior, so you have to they don't have a solo laner rather. So Achilles is essentially an assassin. He's basically Thor.
I mean, he's built like an assassin as well. So that's what I was looking at. Like, who do you go on? Do you go on the 3 tanky frontliners? But it's not. Achilles isn't that tanky. Just because he's a warrior doesn't mean he's tanky.
You have to displace the Achilles and you have to remove him because otherwise Toothless cannot step up and start fighting. I mean, that's why he's gone for the Aussie right now on Ull. Normally that's not your favorite double lifesteal Uller build, but you're pretty happy. Well, you're not happy about it, but you need the double lifesteal because otherwise you can't box this Achilles that has an Aphrodite link to him. The bottom line is Spugg squad has to delete Achilles and then worry about can we kill anybody else.
Indeed, and I think a big part of that is going to come down onto the back of Spugg. If he can buy time dispersing 2, 3, 4 people with a nice Finno Evil, especially under these Phoenixes, and they're going to be able to hold here. They do still hold fairly well as it stands. Pyromancer does go the way of Rice Baby, and they've just gone back to base and said, hey, look, we had a bunch of gold. Let's just spend that up and make sure that we're in good hands, as we actually see what I'm going to now start calling the well-read Scylla build, literally all 4 items from that tree.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I think there's a little, you're missing a little bit of penetration there. I think if your name is GTA, I can't read, 2001. However,
I mean, when you're this far ahead,
it'll do a lot of damage.
It will. Plus, also as well, Scylla does have penetration from her too. If you look at Crush, now that it's fully leveled, you will reduce protections by 30% when you're in it. It is nasty, and you can kind of afford to go it, but I guess I don't think that the Book of the Dead is required here. I'd rather just see that be like some more burst. If you want to go for like more burst, or you don't want to go like high pen, get some cooldown online. Get maybe a Chronos Pendant, or even a Spirit of Desolation.
Yes, if you really think you don't need the penetration, and I can understand that, there's not a lot of tanky targets. You're probably not ulting Contrast or Chiron at this stage. Actually, this might be a Fire Giant contest. Geb's in a good spot for Blink ult.
They're looking for it. They've got Blink available. Does now make his way into the pit, and everyone does fall off. Rice know that they need to at least try and present a threat rather than just staying on the Fire Giant. Geb does force the Achilles Magi's Blessing very efficiently, so duking out those abilities is good. But huge crush. That did 820 damage on the Humbats, and now Achilles is looking for the chase, but Geb gets isolated. 4-man Cataclysm isn't good enough. Set up the Ra.
He hit a 3-man Ra ult there, believe it or not.
Damage. I thought
he has no penetration.
I thought he missed that. I genuinely thought he missed that.
He nailed it.
He hit. Wow. That kind of just sums up this game. Spugg squad get a fantastic setup, a fantastic ultimate set. All the damage goes onto Chiron, and Megatron hits his ultimate ability, the ability that does the most damage for the team. And it looks like he doesn't hit it. That's how far of a lead that they're sat at right now, a Rice Baby.
Honestly, sometimes you pick Ra for sustain. And at the beginning of the game, I thought, yeah, you're probably picking Ra for the sustain. But now that we're getting into it, the Ra has to be your burst damage. And this is one of those cases where, as Mystic Megatron here, excuse me, you cannot build utility. You must build pin shoes. You must build, Soul Reaver. You must build Obsidian Shard. You just have to kill people. You can't. If they live through an Aphrodite ult, I'm sorry, you probably just lost. Because your Ra ults have to delete people. Because right now, Toothless at level 16 can't do anything.
He ain't doing nothing.
No, your Ul 3 at this point with this build, which is an auto attack build, is not going to be enough to follow up off of the Geb Blink ult.
Not quite yet. If they can hold out later, then they will be able to start biting back. Naturally, as waves get tankier and naturally as Rice start pushing them up, XP is going to force its way into Spugg squad's faces, so they will be able to get some stuff. But talk about level and experience lead. I'm not even going to look at the graphs on this because I know it's just skyrocketing at Rice. I'm just going to look at level leads. Still a level lead for the solo lane, 2-level lead on the jungle, level lead in mid, 3-level lead on support, and 3-level lead in duo lane, respectively, both of them. So right now, Spugg squad have to get the perfect storm defense here. Everything has to hit, and it has to hit perfectly.
I mean, this is just a really well-built comp for Rice Baby. They have, even though they have a healer, they aren't trying to heal and win fights. They are trying to burst you, and they're going to win the burst fight because they have an Aphrodite ult that stops your burst. That looks like Contrast has had a small disconnect from the game at the moment. This will give us a little bit of time to break down these comps.
Yeah. And also as well, this Aphrodite, look exactly who she's linked on. She's linked on the aggressive Achilles. Not only that as well, but this build, this exact build, actually, this explains now a little bit more detail of why the Voidstone. This exact build comes from Xaylia, who's the first person to bring out this Aphrodite solo. And the idea is, I link to the jungler, back off, does like 600 damage, plus it slows. If I add a Soul Reaver on top of that, you get so much more potential damage here. It's absolutely nutty. Absolutely nutty damage potential.
The damage on back off is 320 plus 80%, and there's about 400 power right now sitting on this Aphrodite.
Yeah,
it spanks.
It does very large amounts of damage. Mage Eyes is
Big
popped.
Numbers.
Even the tanky Kerberos is taking like a 15% of his HP from a single crush.
Don't worry, Fire Giant will heal him back up.
Yeah, and Ra's doing his best to try and heal back up as well. Taunt Athena grabs all, and he's evaporated very low health. 4-man Cataclysm, followed by the Fino Evil is good. Mystic Megatron from the backside picks up the Medusa, and now Rice Baby have to turn tail and run. It started off as a good pick for them, but they just couldn't follow it up fast enough.
That was a beautiful roll from Mystic Megatron. He hit the squishy guy. The Medusa, Amiz didn't Aegis that, and if he had pushed his Aegis key, then he probably would have survived, and that fight goes Rice Baby's way, but he's unable to immune the damage for whatever reason, and they pick the guy that isn't linked to Afro.
And I love the fact that Spugg, his positioning on Fear No Evil, it wasn't perfect. It didn't hit like 4 people, but it shut down Medusa, and not only that, it stopped all the front line and all the peel potential getting to them because they couldn't walk into it. Fear No Evil was physically blocking them off, so they weren't going to sit there and just take through that, so instead have to try and push forward for more damage. Toothless manages to get himself back to the fountain, And in the meantime, no one spots out Mystic Megatron, who's like, hey, is that a still slow-moving target? Let me just line up a snipe off that. And we mentioned before how sure they don't have much penetration, but that's the squishy one who doesn't build protections. Right. You will still blow them up.
And the squishy one that doesn't build protections was even sitting next to her Athena, right? Medusa is still next to Athena, got the Thebes aura, got the Heartward aura, and it wasn't going to be enough, because at this stage of the game, even the Ra with only a Divine Ruin at the time still has enough power to do about a quarter to a half of Amisa's health, which is enough, right? You don't need to solo somebody with the Ra ult if your Hunbots does half their health bar with a Fear No Evil and Overhand Smash without being interrupted.
Contrast did buy himself a Runic Dagger, looking to try and get that blink up more often, but instead has sold it now for the Talisman. Yeah, he had a Runic Dagger with that Talisman of Energy Wars. And
Relic Dagger?
Yeah, it was Relic Dagger, not Runic Dagger. Don't ask. I don't know. I'm on another planet today. It's Relic Dagger, not Runic. I'm thinking Runic Shield for some reason. I don't know. But yeah, he had Relic Dagger, swaps it out now for this Talisman of Energy, and I love this idea for defending on these sieges. They've already held reasonably well. You know, it's only ever been like 1 or 2 people get picked, but they've still held all their Phoenixes. So now, naturally giving Toothless more attack speed will help him out just be stronger and do more in these fights.
And, you know, I think that Talisman of Energy is honestly, it's meant for Spugg, right? Because Contrast wants more magical protections because the Scylla is just killing people. And
she's crushing.
She still hasn't built any pen. So magic protection can be very effective. And Spugg wants to blink in and slap somebody with an ability and then auto cancel, and slap somebody with an ability and then auto cancel to try to get a Sunbot's passive. And this just helps him do that more effectively.
Well, again, Achilles standing, taking the free Magai's Blessing or Magai's Cloak procs. I'm still going to call it a Magai's Blessing. It's a blessing. That is a blessing, having 70 seconds. Getting a CC immune bubble. Yeah, that is a blessing. That is a blessing to have. But unfortunately, it's not quite as good a blessing if you're just losing it to a Geb knockup without getting anything in response. Dash, taunt from Athena. Achilles is there for follow-up, but beads onto Aura are good, and he immunes most of the damage. Meanwhile, on the front side, Kerberos gets erased by the 2 in the backline. Spugg does find the Medusa again, and off the mark is I'm a Monster. Now it's all a case as to whether or not Rice are going to be able to find anything. Don't know is good from Geb. Not quite enough damage.
Dead doing a lot of work there for JTA, able to take away a lot of the health that Raw Snipe wanted to do. Is Achilles is going to run down Chiron in the backline. He's going to barely get into his fountain.
But look at the one member from Rice who died. It's almost all of the damage that they had. Good thing that the Scylla does have access to that Polynomicon. It is going to chunk through a good chunk of damage into the Phoenixes, but without having that Medusa to just constantly auto it, this Phoenix is taking like 4 or 5 times longer than it should have done to fall.
Not for nothing, the no penetration on the Scylla also doesn't help with the Phoenix killing.
Yeah,
Crush. Just roll.
Oh no!
Oh, he's dead.
Oh no, he's not. The blink. Oh. Okay. Outplayed. Play of the game right there.
Intentional.
That just shatters Rice Baby's morality. Comms get toxic. Everyone starts ignoring everyone. It just goes to hell. Spugg Squad win.
I think there would need to be something a little bit more wrong than just comms at this point for Spugg Squad to take this game. With one Phoenix down, I mean, they can still win. But the problem is they're only killing Medusa, and Medusa still, I didn't see her Aegis that fight. If Medusa finds her second active key, this is going to be really difficult for Spugg to do anything.
Indeed it is. Well, now she has returned, and they're looking for this second Phoenix. Doesn't have the Fire Giant buff, but with the rest of the team having it, it should be able to buy her enough time to get in. But the defense here is good from Spugg Squad. When they can clear out these minion waves as effectively as they have been, They don't have to worry too much. And I can only imagine that Contrast or Chiron are going to be going for, hang on just a second, blink in, and JT immediately erases the chicken. They're just having fried chicken for dinner tonight. Kerberos on the front side, can't find anything in the backside. Humbat tries to deal with the Achilles, and he will. 3-man Stygian Torment picks up one, but it's the tanky Athena who shells out most of the damage, and Medusa punting in damage square into the back of this Phoenix. This Phoenix is falling, but not before Geb potentially does. No, he will survive.
Geb Shield OP. And hey, that time...
last time we mentioned these guys. Geb Shield is OP.
Geb Shield is... Oh, was that a Scylla dash?
That was a Scylla blink. That was a blink. Scylla has blink. That was a blink. She blinked for that. She blinked for the Sikkim to Poly. And that's, again, why I love this Polynomicon here. You get Sikkim, it erases someone just like that.
Bye, Spugg. I'm a Monster's gonna chunk through a little bit of Contrast health right there, but not enough to kill him as the damage is coming out. Ooh, 1 HP already in this fight.
But look at the Titan already. Medusa gets left alone. And Athena Dunk will secure it. Rice baby in a 26.5 minutes. Take a clinic to Spugg Squad.
No, I think it was good identification there by Rocket on that last. Well, not the last, but the middle Phoenix siege. He links up to the Medusa, and Medusa gets a beautiful Afro ult right there, and does a nice job, I think, and keeps Amnesi, and I can't remember the name. The Medusa player. Amiz.
5,000.
Yes, 5,000. I like it. Keeps 5,000 alive.
Indeed, they do. Awkward situation for the Medusa. Ended up with not the best looking scoreline, 4-9, but that's not the stat that you'd want to look at here. Look at the look at the structure damage. 9,000 structure damage.
Yep.
Focus the thing you gotta focus, and in that case, it's just the Phoenixes, the things that win you the game.
That game has to. I mean, Toothless was unable to contribute much on this Uhl pick, and I don't want to attribute it all to his build because a lot of it was, hey, I'm just behind. But this is an auto attack build when you need to win burst fights, and they just couldn't win burst fights. They might have won a very extended fight with lots of Hunbot's damage, lots of Uhl autos, and lots of raw ones. But
that just wasn't.
Rice never gave them that opportunity. It was Athena taunt into Medusa ult with a Afro ult on top, while your Achilles is diving the back line and still is just crushing people. Thousands.
Yeah, literally crushing people. That full build. Don't forget as well, ladies and gentlemen, to vote for your MVP. If I had a look at it, I'm looking at Jack Frosty here. As great as this Scylla was late game, the reason she got there is because of Jack Frosty pushing through so much damage. The space creation, every time Athena would go in and dash taunt, he would be there as well, CCing another person. Just really picking apart the team.
Jack Frosty did a great job finding the backline of Spugg Squad. But hey, you know what? Shout outs to my man Roosteroo over there on the Athena. He played the Athena very well. He was constantly dash taunting people, and they couldn't kill him for it. Because
they couldn't kill him for it. He was ulting over into fights and turning them in situations. He was setting up the team to knock them down, and he played it really well.
So to me, early game goes to Jack Frosty and late game goes to Rooster. But I don't get to decide. That's on you guys.
Indeed. I'm talking about deciding. If you're Spugg Squad, you brushed up game and said, all right, that went bad, to say the least. What are you looking at and saying here? Is it picks? Is it the fact that we just fell behind so far? Is it maybe the way we were playing our early? Because we mentioned early that it was because of these invades from Jack Frosty that got them ahead. Are you looking to maybe change up your comp to say if they're going to invade, we can punish them for that? Or where are you looking for game 2 here?
Well, I want winnable team fights. And I honestly think that Spugg Squad's team fight was not winnable with the lack of burst coming out from their side. I think we need to relook at the team comps, and I think we need to relook at how we react to invades early, because both of those things contributed to Spugg Squad's losing that game.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it, you've got Geb, Humbats, Ra, and Anora. Those should be grouping early game team fights, but In the
Right.
early game, they just got picked apart, never
Right.
got a chance to try and group up or siege anything. We saw one come out when it was around a Gold Fury, which they backed off from. So they didn't try and take these early fights. And that, I feel, is where they needed to look at for it.
It's a tricky one, right? Because like you mentioned, Spug Squad's composition is not built for late game. It is built for mid
No.
game, where they want
Those
to
mid-game
boss ult
fights.
people and geb ult people and kill them. And that's probably the thought process behind the pin shoes geb as well. Because hey, I want my shockwave to do a little bit more damage, because that's when we want to fight, when that's going to be relevant. But as soon as Aphrodite starts rotating in, and as soon as we start getting just constant sieges going on, and we got a full build Scylla, even with no penetration, she still did 34,000 damage in that game. MVP coming through. You guys chose Jack Frosty, and I see why.
Congratulations. Yeah, he did everything he needed to do. He put on a fantastic show and really radiated his glory across this battlefield. So congratulations to him. Indeed, indeed. And if you're on Rice Rice Baby, you're just looking to run this back. There are a few little things. We won't mention that one of Medusa's deaths came from a Gold Fury because they were tanking it up. We won't mention that, but other than that, just running it back, just running this comp back. They don't have to necessarily change up anything. It's on Spug Squad to change here.
All right, guys, I think we're going to cut to a short break here before we get into the second game, just so we can get things set up on the technical side of things, but we will be back shortly with game 2.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Game 2. Today we're actually going to be able to bring you some P's and B's. In terms of bans, I wasn't going to go that far, but in terms of bans, we see Hobwasa, Ket, and Janus Achilles with the first pick, Kerberos, coming out.
Cerberus coming out there for Spugg Squad. The Artemis coming in for, what's their name again?
That is Rice Baby.
Rice Baby, that's what it is. The Artemis pick coming out. I like it because Toothless probably wants it.
We see ourselves that he has his little preferred pick, Artemis. So taking that one away, I like it. And yeah, Athena, like you said, I want to say Athena. There we go. Just knock in some A game gods here.
I like it. Literally. They banned out the Achilles to stop Spugg Squad from picking up the Achilles, and they snagged the Athena. Both of those were the two best characters on that team.
Did you see what I did there?
We're gonna go back over to Spugg Squad.
I'm just making sure that you actually at least caught it. But yeah, that's fine. In terms of what they're gonna pick now, I don't think that the Hombat is a good thing to grab here. But
I want to pick a hunter and I want to pick a mid laner. And Thoth is open, up, which makes me very happy. Or you can pick Scylla here if that's really what Mystic
can play the Scylla. Though you do leave option for Jata to pick something just as bursty, and we saw that, despite what we saw yesterday, where we saw spicy. Mystic. Ooh, I like it. Mind it so far. Yeah, it also stops down healer comms, and can still flex.
I love the Odin pick, and I expect that this game might go better for Spugg.
It can go. There's the Thoth.
Oh, this draft gives me goosebumps. It's perfect. I love it.
So far, it's perfect.
Gorgeous.
And that, to be fair, only idiots and children praise and criticize a job half done. It is perfect so far. And we do not know just what Rice are going to pick out here. So we just need to stop, collaborate, and listen, and see what they go for here.
Well, I want to see a high-pressure mid laner that can match that Thoth coming out from
Loki, do it. Yes.
No, that is not the answer, in fact.
It is not the answer at all. Even if you look
pick Aphrodite.
Could just pick Aphro. Even into the Odin, she still does fantastic amounts of damage and can just last through the ult. We do see the Ratatoska instead, matching global pressure.
Yep. Really
solid now.
Rat is a character that can just run a game entirely by himself, and I think that's what that's what the jungle from and I should be writing these names down because I literally
Rice Baby,
right? Yes.
Well, in terms of bans, Jibbalonque banned away by Rice Baby. I love the call. If we know that the best aspect which Spugg would have had is when they do team fights, Jibbalonque ult is the best ultimate in the game for disrupting a team fight. Even better than Humbat's ultimate, because at least you can still see where everyone is. You don't get that luxury. And in fact, they're actually going to ban away the Humbats as well, pushing Spugg out of his comfort zone now.
I'm okay with that, though. And I'm half expecting that Odin is a jungle Odin right now. For Spugg Squad, or at least it's a flex there. We've seen the Cerberus go over to Contrast before, and I'm not sure whether or not Chiron wants to play Odin support. So I think this Odin could very easily flex to the jungle position.
Because it still does allow Spugg to do what he wants to do. Early game, it gets himself a lot of pressure, and it also means that in team fights, he presses 4 and the team fight is 1. He can also then be more of that front line to just help get this Thoth safety if it's needed, because this Ratatoska, he's going to be looking at this Thoth every time.
Oh yeah, no, this Ratatoska is going to be swirling his nuts all around the mid lane, and I'm expecting the Kazoo their Thoth, to take a few spills in the early game, as long as this Ratatoska really is.
I mean, it could still be
filling over to him all the time. There's the Scylla pick.
I like it. Just if it ain't broke, don't fix it. We saw fantastic game come out from Jata on it, and why not? I mean, it shows late game, doesn't quite have as good as early as Thoth, but again, both of those two mages are fairly binary late game. You either blow someone up or you get blown up.
And to be fair, Scylla and Thoth are the only two mages in the game where I will not go running to your house screaming at you if you decide not to build penetration.
Very true. Well, Sol instead looking for it, trying to match that pressure. Again, haven't actually locked anything in yet, but instead we'll lock in the Scylla and let the choice. Ho Yi being looked at as the selection for Toothless. Not the worst thing in the world, especially given that sun-touched passive, but oh god, don't do this to me. Chiron,
no, don't make me say Chiron saves Chiron with
Ho Yi, though, does look to be the safer choice. Fairly decent teamfight ult in similar veins to Artemis, where you press 4 and hopefully see what lands. But
hey, there's no Odin cage.
Really, it's that passive. Oh yeah, Odin cage. Just lock him up. No, don't do it. Don't you do it.
To be fair, though, Chiron wouldn't be a bad pick here because there's a lot of things you can cleanse. Hu Yi is going to be the pick. Naja, this is interesting, right? Because
could still be Naja solo.
Naja takes people out of Odin cage.
But it also takes them out of the fight entirely, meaning that if Scylla physically can't follow up off of Ratatoska, or Artemis just isn't in a fight, even if it's just like Athena or one of the front lines gets taken out, taking them out of the fight opens up a lot of possibilities, and there's a lot of flexibility with the target selection for the Naja. Currently, Contrast hasn't actually swapped yet. There he goes. He has swapped, so it will be Spugg playing the Naja. We haven't mentioned it yet, but Amaterasu is the pick for the solo lane. I like it.
This is a insanely scary late game comp from Rice Baby. They may not have the most pressure in the world in all of their lanes, and Artemis might get out pushed by Cerberus Hu Yi. They see very well should be, but if you make it to 25 minutes and you group as 5 and every single character on your team pushes 4 at around the same 30-second interval, you will win the team fight.
Yeah. That being said, though, that's not to discourage what Spugg Squad can do. Rice Baby are a very fine-tuned machine, and Naja is fantastic at dismantling finely tuned machines. That's basically what he does, and all he does, and it's very, very good at it. There's not one target that you could look at and be, oh, I'm sorry, I've pulled them, unless it's a tank and you were looking for the pick. But even then, you've taken one of the frontliners who's doing all the CC and setting up the backlines for, making it easier for you to aggress onto them. You take one of the backliners out, you destroy most of their health, and force the frontliners to turn attention to them when they land.
It's certainly, I'm just stuck on why the Naja and the Odin pick at the same time, because to me there are few gods in the game that have more anti-synergy, because Naja is taking you out of the Odin cage, Odin is trying to cage you, and Hu Yi's trying to ult you while you're in the cage. Thoth has great follow-up to the Naja, and Hu Yi has great follow-up to the Odin, and Cerberus kind of fits everywhere.
He sets everyone up for that, no matter what happens. He just picks people up and puts them in front of others. And that's
my problem is the Odin Hu Yi looks great, and the Naja Thoth looks great. But all 4 of them on the same team, just those 2 pairs of characters, I'm interested to see how Spugg Squad uses them, because right now I don't see it.
So you're giving this one then, I would assume, to Rice Baby here.
Yes.
And that's just because you feel that there may be a little bit miscommunication potential. If Spugg has to be sitting there saying, I have ult, do you want me to ult these guys? And if he hears a no, or here's maybe an or an ah, he has to turn around and say no at that point.
Well, I'm not afraid of miscommunication. I'm just afraid of team comp right now. And the team comp from Spugg Squad, I don't see it working together well. Whereas the team comp from Rice Baby, it fits. You can Athena taunt into Scylla damage. You can Artemis ult into Scylla damage. You can Artemis ult into Rat damage. You can Rat ult into Athena damage. You can do. I mean, Athena's not building damage, but you can. All 5 of these characters work well together, and all of them can play off each other. All of them can feel for each other. I just don't see Spugg Squad being able to overcome this team comp out of Rice Baby.
Fair enough then. Well, you've heard what our opinions here on the desk, but we'll have to see when we get into game, which should be shortly, ladies and gentlemen. So we're just going to take a quick break while we get things set up. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back. All right then, ladies and gentlemen, we are in game. Spugg Squad versus Rice Baby. Currently, it stands at 1-0 for Rice Baby, and they're looking to close this set here. And you think they can do it, don't you? You think that they've got what it takes?
I think this is a scary composition from Rice. But I have been wrong before, and there's certainly a large amount of potential from Spugg Squad here to get some picks in the early mid-game and really round this out. I would say by 30 minutes or so, they need to have a pretty big stinking lead, or Rice Baby could just come around and win it anyway.
Indeed. Well, we saw last game that they built a semi-mid game sort of team fighting draft.
Right.
Never really were able to get to that point. Hopefully this time they will be able to, and some changes have been made. Do still see Rooster on this Athena, though. Jack Frosty was forced away from the Achilles. We never touched on picks and bans. It was actually Rice Baby who banned that away. So they really respect the potential from it.
I think it was a good ban. I think it was a very good ban. Because
we wanted to pick. We just saw what it could do.
Right. They wanted to either pick Athena or Achilles. So they ban one, hope the other dudes don't pick the other one, and grab the second one themselves.
Indeed. And contrast this time, we'll be playing on the Odin, so should have a fairly good matchup, especially into the Amaterasu. When Bird Bomb completely just obliterates a wave, there's very little Amaterasu can do to stop that outside of trying to poke the Odin and tear out some of that shield.
It's an interesting matchup. Yeah, I think Amaterasu is not in a horrible position, but it can certainly be a tough one.
Indeed. Well, Odin definitely has to start with the lead, but we'll be looking to level up that Raven shout just a little bit later. Now, this is an interesting change that we see here. We see the junglers both taking the blue buff, but Contrast rather, decides that he just wants to completely clear out the wave. This will favor Rocket here, because he will get some extra XP there. Actually, doesn't look like Spugg actually cleared out the entire there, so Odin does manage to pick it up himself just in time. But now it's a level advantage and XP lead for Amaterasu.
Interesting. The mid camps were looked at there by Spugg for a second, but instead he's going to get the credit for these last three archers. The red buff has been dropped.
Hey, it's pre-2 minutes.
Pre-2 minutes, and it makes me happy. The red buff for Spugg's squad has yet to be dropped, and this is kind of scary for them. They need to be getting this buff on.
Go to the red buff. Go to the red buff. Go to the red buff.
Somebody's going to the red buff.
Actually, he's not looking to red buff. He's going to be looking for a gang potential. Chiron set at 50% HP. It's there. Blink goes through. Unfortunate shot there. Not quite able to find the damage. Oh, the stun.
Ooh,
Athena actually put very low. Hello, Spugg. Toothless.
Spugg's around here for the gank, but just going to tag some minions, make his dual lane hate him, and walk back to the red buff.
They're getting a red buff. It's not quite.
They did.
It's not as late as last time. It's not as late. It's closer
like
to 2 minutes. Yeah, 3 minutes was looking at where the red buff was taken the first time.
Mid camps are spawning on the right hand side. Might see a little bit of fragging going on here, but Spugg gonna decide his back camps and speed buff are probably more important, and I won't disagree with him there. But
especially
Philip probably confirms this over Toth.
Somewhat, yes. She can just sit down that Crush for a lot longer and really be an annoyance. And that's one of the nice things about Crush. Everyone sort of looks at Crush and thinks, oh, this ability just explodes immediately. But it doesn't. You decide when it explodes. It'll explode after a short bit of time, but contesting will secure it over the top there. So good work there.
As
the buffs have respawned. And exactly where the junglers need to be. Rocket is a lower health than the Amaterasu. Or on this Amaterasu, but I love what Jack Frosty's doing right now, recognizing exactly where Spugg is going to be, finds him on his own, invades and steals the buff, finds himself a first blood. Spugg squad put with their best foot behind them. Jack Frosty not only invades, but gets first blood as well.
It's very important, and Jack Frosty's showing us really very, very well done so far in the jungle for this Ratatosker player. And I'm expecting to see him continue to try to force the control of this game.
Left side, getting very low. Chiron does manage to get away. Doesn't look like there's going to be any follow-up potential. Both sprints are still down from the last skirmish that occurred here, but very low did Chiron get. It was a great two-man taunt from Rooster, and he's been doing this in both games. Just, I will walk up and two-man taunt you. Are you going to beat? Do you think maybe someone's rotating around? You see a bit of a rotation again. Mid camp's going the way. Frosty.
Good stun.
Very good stun. A necessary stun. Not just a good stun. That is a necessary stun. You have to hit that.
But he's completely and his red buff spawning. The Ratatosker, he's going to ignore the red buff in favor of the gank here. No, he's going to push B. He really wants to get his speed buff.
If he buys... Interesting. He doesn't actually... I'm very glad that he didn't buy his full Acorn there and actually went for the tier 2 of his penetrations. Athena gets a good taunt, dive bomb away. Kerberos throwing out a little bit more damage. Athena comes away worse for wear, but I'm very interested to see why Jack Frosty's not finishing off that Acorn. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Sometimes it's great that you can buy it when you're not in the fountain, but a lot of times just the movement speed's really good, so sometimes you just want to finish it when you go back anyway. I don't think it...
No, he's not even finished it. He's still on Acorn of Swiftness, not even...
Well, yeah, no, he leveled up his mace. He got the mace. Because actually, Ratatosker's going to ult into the right lane here. Odin at 1 HP, Contrast going to be cleaned up by the flurry of acorns as Jack Frosty strikes again.
Jack Frosty to Spugg is black and white. It's literally that stark of a difference between these two players, it seems. Last time we saw Spugg, everything kind of hinged on him. Now, though, Spugg Squad kind of have to ask, all right, what do we do if Spugg doesn't get off to a good start? Where do we look at? I think it's got to be Mystic.
Mystic definitely had some good performances in the hyper late game from the games that we saw yesterday, but this isn't hyper late game yet. We saw him get punished a little bit early. He needs to come online, and this Warlock staff isn't going to do that for him. But maybe he can rush into a Soul Reaver and really start one-shotting people.
I think that's probably what he's going to have to do. He doesn't have to go for penetration too much thanks to his passive, just giving him I believe it's three penetration per stack, because he actually shows just how good he can fight. Taking out Jata. That was a clean solo.
Solo kill.
It's soloed.
That's really good. I mean, your mid laner.
That's what we needed.
Yeah, you aren't anticipating that your mid laner is going to solo the other mid laner, especially when they've got a Book of Thoth over you. But hey, getting it done is Mystic there, trying to keep his team in the game.
I was literally just saying, I need Mystic to step up. And what does he do? He goes and solos his mid laner.
Pretty good.
That's pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good. I'll take that. We do see Jtar building the same way. I would be fearful to see him build the Book of the Dead again, but everything else I can kind of understand. But they should know what he's going to do.
Artemis beads coming out. Tusky not yet. Double stun from the Cerberus. Paralyzing Spit getting work done, but unable to finish off either player.
I'm surprised we didn't see Stygian Torment come out. He may have been too low on mana to do so, but Stygian Torment, instead of paralyzing Spit, just pick him up and control them for longer.
I think he thought the paralyzing Spit might kill, as Ratatosker's actually making the rotation through. The Cosmos is available. We might see this one come out as Naja walks into the trap.
BVVT, that was a trap. He thought he was going to clear it just to keep the team safe. Doesn't find it. Crush off the mark as Kerberos puts very low. Sunbreaker comes out and Ratatosker still boxing it. Oh, he needs to get there. Will find the shot. Meanwhile, Thoth looking to try and find some damage. Free hands the ult. Can't hit Scylla. Does chunk out Artemis. But all in all, a 1-for-1 trade.
1-for-1 trade, and honestly, I'm not sure whose side that comes up favoring.
To me, if you're behind and you win a trade or you trade evenly, that is better for you because you will get a little bit more from that gold. You'll get a little bit more of that experience. You can also deny a little bit more farm and catch yourself back up. If you are losing in terms of the enemies hit harder than you, are tankier than you, and you still come away 1-for-1, that for me is a 1 trade for you. If you are behind, as Spugg Squad.
For every second that this Ratatosker isn't on the map, I'm a very, very happy team for Spugg Squad.
Yeah.
Neja needs to get some farm online, needs to be hitting these jungle creeps, needs to be splitting some mid waves even, because he needs to make sure that he is still in the game. He's 2 levels behind currently, and 3-1-0 is Jack Frosty /.
Indeed. Quick look at the graph show that. Oh, indeed it is. I'll come back to the graphs just a little bit. Artemis pushed very low. There's the Stygian Torment, picks both of them up. Claydolian Ball will stun the pair of them, but looking for the leap. Cubris finds it. Can't find it. Just off the mark is Toothless from getting that bounce.
That would have been a spicy ricochet, but unsuccessful. Is the master of geometry to complete that Hui bounce and finish off the kill.
What kind of spice? What kind of spice would that have been?
It would have been like a paprika.
I'm thinking, yeah, I'm thinking a good bit of good paprika. That's pretty nice. Not 5 spice. That's too common a thing. Hoyi gets that nice paprikas. Odin looking around, just in the jungle, seeing what he can find. Spots
this
Frosty.
Is something that Contrast has done in every game. He's always looking for these very aggressive paths into the enemy jungle, looking for back camps, looking to proxy waves. He's going to get punished here. He's going to lose some creeps.
He needs to defend his buff. Jack Frosty will just walk in there.
Sash.
Good sash. Oh, but the ult. I don't know whether or not it was able to follow up. Good ult in response. Sets him up and will manage to put him down. Spugg picks up his counterpart and earns himself some well-earned levels, but Amaterasu is here now.
Defender of Olympus comes out, and there's the confound into the damage from the Athena shield wall. Not enough to confirm. Spugg's spot is reached.
The reach!
To the grave.
That reach, the block on the dash was perfect, and then he follows it up with the reach. Awkward situation. Athena pushed very low thanks to the bird bomb. Good Gunga's might as well. In contrast, will avenge his fallen teammate. Level 11 are both of these solo laners now, so neither really looking to try and overpressure the other.
You know what? If I'm Odin in that situation, I'm not too sad about that. You know, I confirmed my blue buff, I got a stack on my passive, and I got a double kill essentially. So you know what? Sure.
Yeah, you good job, team. You really pulled through for me mid lane. JTA pushed very low. Ricochet. I like the fact that it wasn't pushed for through the Cosmos. Toothless will confirm it with the Suns. The damage from Ratatoska is off the mark. Do want to see now what a Spugg squad gonna do? You just got to pick. Congratulations. What are you doing now? You going back to your buffs?
They're confirming their own red buff currently, and I kind of agree with your train of thought there. We need to see something happen. If you want to pull gold, try to pick the Artemis player. You can try that, but right now Spugg squad they got mid camps off the kill.
They got something. They are still down and behind, but they have clawed it back up. Was sat over 1,000 gold lead. Now it's sat under that 1,000 gold lead. This game is, for all intents and purposes, even. And that is a much better showing than last game.
Toothless has a bit of a lead there in the duo lane, contrasting to the jungle deficit from Spugg. But really, Naja doesn't have to kill people. Naja just has to be a setup bot because there's a Thoth who's finished his Warlocks, probably working into maybe a Chronos Pen, maybe even a
Ratatouille. If it's Ratatouille, I have found love of Ratatouille on Thoth just because you get that passive on the glyph and
Stygian Torment on the left-hand side, though. Artemis Tusky's going to come out. Hui beads. Toothless is going to jump in.
Side bombs in.
Down the Artemis player.
Sprint has been popped from both sides. Naja can't quite find the sash. Will find a ring bounce, but it bounces far too far away. Jack Frosty is here, looking for a blink. Finds a blink. Doesn't be able to find anything else. Goes up to through the Cosmos now. Actually lands almost immediately. Usually we see people wait for that, but he's just saying, I want to go now. Sash and Windfire Wheels does come out, and Spugg makes Jack Frosty pay for that very aggressive play.
Jack Frosty thinks he's in last game when he's on a warrior that gets to heal every time he goes in, because in this game he's playing extremely aggressive, and he's getting punished for it now. He started off the game 3-1, now he's 3-3, finding 2 deaths very early.
Well, congratulations, Jack Frosty. You just played yourself mid lane. You see rotation coming out from both the junglers, but they will slap fight themselves safe. Thoth dashes into the lane. No follow-up damage onto Scylla, but beads forced by Spugg.
That's huge.
Scylla, JT has to know that Naja ult's down there. There's no need to ult off that, especially when she still had her dash up. There's no need to beads off that.
He might have been scared of maybe a snap Thoth ult, but I'm not sure if Thoth has the damage to really kill him from 100% in that situation. Just a little bit of a panic beads, but it's okay for now. He can still ult a lot of the CC that is available for Spugg Squad, but this is exactly what Spugg Squad needed to be doing at the start of the game. just forcing fights and winning them in the mid game. And now that we're starting to get some items online, maybe once Chiron finishes his sovereignty, I really need to start seeing some gold fights.
Right-hand side, Jack Frosty's rotation is called out. However, Dazzling Offense is going to be used, but left over. Beautiful sash and follow-up ult. Square onto Jack Frosty. Phantom was used, but it's not good enough. Through the Cosmos will get them out in time. Are they going to look for a land back in? Scylla is making the rotation, but it just be a bit too late.
And this is the anti-synergy I was talking about, right? You Odin caged someone, and then immediately Naja ulted them out of the Odin cage. The Odin cage kept Amaterasu from healing off of her one.
Yeah, and to be fair, if Naja doesn't pull them out, they both have Phantom and they both just walk out.
Okay, true, but if he's on the ground... But if he's on the ground, you can get Odin autos, Gungnir's Might can slow them. You're still stuck in the cage. The auto attacks are slowed. You're not getting Acorn healing.
And you still have to walk out of the cage, which I don't think they're just going to let you do.
No, they certainly are not.
Saving that Windfire Wheels, looking for it in mid where they know Scylla has nothing. Looks for the dash and the sash and the follow-up dash stun, but not able to find anything. As 4 people from Rice Baby do make their way over. Blink from Jack Frosty there.
Thought the red was up.
Thought the red was up. I'm surprised they
was kind of out of position though. Chiron caught out by the dart, but unable to get the stun. Athena
back in.
Available right now, and Scylla ults up.
Scylla's basing. Scylla was basing. If he threw a ring bounce out there and spotted that Scylla was still standing there, that could have been huge for them. They do actually finish off themselves. A Spear of Desolation, seeing that there's not too much healing outside of like lifesteal and the Naja too. I like the Desolation here, and I do think that overall it is just a better look, especially on this Scylla.
Hey, she's decided to build some penetration, and it's before 40 minutes in the game. So that's
also cooldown as well.
Yeah, it's cooldown, it's penetration, it's a lot of power, and this is probably a Soul Reaver next for the Scylla player. So I really enjoy this build from Jita.
Yes. Jita, 2001, whatever their name is. I'll have to lost them at some point. As you keep saying, yeah. Left side, aggressive jump in from the Kerberos. Not able to find anything else. Artemis just stays calm, keeps her cool. Doesn't use anything.
Scylla's here.
Taunt is good. Scylla gets a Sycam onto Chiron, forces him very low under 100 HP. Jack Frosty in the mid lane will fall to Spugg, but that should give them all the information to know where everyone's going to be. Taunt and dash is good from Athena, and they will reach enough damage to put Chiron in the ground. Frosty unable to make any impact or rotation. Spugg is here, but they're going to get chased away.
I want to see Rice Baby do something here. Their jungle might be dead, but... Well, never mind. That was a good ricochet. With low mana. Oh, Sash again.
Dash.
Insane taunt there from the Athena player.
Wait, hang on. Did she actually manage to get out of the ultimate? Spugg actually used his ultimate there. He used his ultimate. Oh, no, he didn't. No, he didn't. Ignore me. I'm dumb.
He did taunt the Sash. And then body blocks the remainder. It was an excellent play there from Roosteroo, who's been quietly, for me, one of the best players in this tournament, in this game.
Indeed. They've been working almost hand in hand with Jack Frosty, and I feel like that's exactly what you want your two sort of shot callers and guys who really drive where the team is going to be. You want it on your support and your jungler.
Yes.
Late game, you can get the solo laners come in and start suggesting stuff when they can start frontlining a little bit more aggressively than your supports. But early game, it's all coming from the supports a lot of the time.
For what it's worth, also you need to have talkative carries because your carries have to tell you what you can kill. Having a really talkative support is great, thinking like, oh, I can CC this villain, the character here. But if you can't then kill the character off your CC, then you probably shouldn't be using it.
They're the ones who have to ask the questions, can I kill this? As they're looking to see if they can kill Ratatoska. Stun hits onto Athena, good bit of long-range poke. There's a lot of members now conversing around this Gold Fury. This could be the thing that really kicks this game off one way or the other for these teams, is this first Gold Fury. 18.5 minutes in now. Well, 18.25 minutes.
Yeah, we're close enough to the half that I'll give it to you there. But level 18 still is very terrifying right now for Spugg squad. They got to deal with it somehow. It's a crush just off the mark. Ratatosker through the Cosmos, looking at Spugg here. He's half HP.
Not just the Thoth if needed as well. I'm a Monster is up, looking for potential follow-up. Goes in off the Windfire Wheels, which gets him out to safety. Eggs is through, more damage. Toothless is already here and puts Jack Frosty into the ground. Final Judgment pushes Scylla into 1 HP territory, and the Suns will confirm it. Tusky over the backside, looking for more damage. Only ends up stunning out 2, and this fight is all with Spugg Squad's name on it.
Rice Baby, though, down 2 players, still trying to fight into it. And Mystic Megatron fights him with the Iron Level Assault. Athena's low. He's going to be walking down the Toothless auto attack. Sash is going to be up soon from Spugg. And he, just misses it with Thoth.
Doesn't matter.
This should be a gold fury for Spugg Squad. This is exactly when they need to be fighting.
Absolutely love it. Fight starts off, and it's all off of... It's actually more Rice Baby that start that fight. Spugg gets hit by... the Tree of Yggdrasil damage, and then immediately follows up from Windfire Wheels. JTA misses the I'm a Monster because he's been pulled up into the air, gets eaten a load of damage. Final Judgment comes through from Megatron and obliterates every chance that he had of being able to stay in that fight.
Supersonic, can I eat my words real quick?
Yeah, you can eat them words.
I thought Odin was a bad pick. Not gonna lie, yeah. I really like Odin, but then with the rest of the comp that Spugg Squad picked, I didn't like it. But the way they have played this Odin is not, I want my Odin in the team fights. It's, I picked Odin so you didn't pick any healers, and now I'm throwing my Odin over to Soul Lane, stopping Tarasu from rotating. It's working well.
About it. It's working. Does have a Phantom available. Goes for the sprint first, and then goes. Rat's looking to the follow-up if needed. They haven't really committed too much until they land. Bees is forced. Bird Bomb goes through, but immediately turns it around for the Windfire Wheels. Jack Frosty put it under 100 HP, or under 10% HP. Megatron turns it up and cleans it up. But the team Defender of Olympus, though, is channeled, and now Thoth is kind of all on his own here.
This is a bit of a chase coming in. Thoth, though, trying to get out. Amaterasu, though, has the damage aura and eventually movement speed aura. The crush.
Oh,
no. Completely.
Big damage. Contrast turns up. I'm a Monster cleans him up and puts down 2. He jumped over the wall to get away from the Athena, but completely left Mystic Megatron. And meanwhile, what's happening over on the duo side, you have 2 pushing down this tower. Contrast can't leave the carry like that again. You can't do that.
This is going to be a Pyromancer, and if they had an Artemis over here, it would have been a Fire Giant for Rice Baby. Really, Spugg Squad prioritizing their mid-tier 1, and they end up losing a Pyromancer for it. But at the end of the day, that's all they lost. And I think that's pretty good for them, because they really could have been punished a hell of a lot harder.
Indeed, they could have been. If I'm Mystic Megatron, I'm there like, dude, WTF. Protect me! Be the big tanky Odin! He bird bombs himself out over to tier 2 tower, and unfortunately Megatron just couldn't get the dash up in time and got caught out in a very awkward situation, like you mentioned. But
I think Spugg was dead there anyway, and I'm kind of okay with
not Spugg, sorry, Megatron. Not Spugg. I'm getting tongue-tied on my name.
I'm not sure Megatron even would have lived. Odin doesn't have peel, kind of famously.
No, I know he doesn't necessarily, but he's a big tanky body. Well, a big body to stand in front of. It's mid-lane tier 1 tower. Looking for some aggression here as Spugg Squad. Despite this game being tied even, they're still playing this for the win now.
Sikkim was missed there, but no follow-up. Hui is going to get taunted in by the Athena. Crush does half of his health through the Cosmos coming through. Cerberus frontlining. Sikkim stopping him from helping as Hui as the dart is just off the mark.
Kerberos putting very low in the damage. Blink forward from Jack Frosty, puts down 1, and there goes the second. Final Judgment puts through a load of damage, but Jack Frosty's not deterred. Good damage comes through as I'm a Monster just destroys again another member. Spugg forced to disengage via the ultimate. And you mentioned that, sure, Contrast may not be, rotating into these team fights, but he's got to turn up at some point. He's got to turn up. Because if either one of these solos turns up and the other doesn't, they will win a team fight.
True, but to me, that was about who you positioned way too far forward without having his beads available. As JTA, I said it right, is going to clean up Spugg at his own back camps, it looked like. But no, it's tricky because Hui just didn't have beads, and he got Athena taunts him. And when your name is Hui and you don't have purification beam, and there's no CC immunity in your kit, you just can't push up that far. You have to respect the Athena, and this Athena is capitalizing every time somebody on Spugg is making a mistake like that.
Indeed, very good work coming out from Rooster. They've got to be there, like honestly, every single time. Like, who has beads up? Oh, none of them have beads up now. Well, I guess I can talk anyone.
Right.
Oh, I'm so happy. Look at the consumables from Spugg Squad. This makes me happy.
Oh my goodness, it's
everyone has wards and everyone has a
set. That's so tricky.
So many times I see people like, guys, we need to get wards. All right, then, just 2 normal wards. Nah, I'd rather you get 1 sentry ward than 2 wards, because sentries just do so much for it. They give you so much more than just a regular ward. And I love the fact that we see that coming out from Spugg.
All-out aggression on the left-hand side. Double Athena taunt gets the Hui's beads, and Artemis is going to purify out the Stygian Torment. Scylla's already here, and there's not a rotation yet from Spugg.
Have used Dash already, but Gold Fury has respawned. Jack Frosty looking at the oracles. They won't see that there is a ward currently on there for Spugg Squad, but they're going to pull this regardless. Oh, but this is awkward, though. Contrast hasn't made the rotation, but Amaterasu has, so she's working on for the front line right now.
Uh-oh. Bye, Serb. You'll be messed.
On the backside, though, Hoyi's looking for something. Chiron, though, as you mentioned, just gets completely obliterated in terms of his damage. When Firewheel's off the mark, Ratatoska beats himself anyway. And now it's just one by one by one. Toothless went for the flashy pay, trying to come around the backside, but Gold Fury had already been leashed.
That was
2 clean kills.
Final Judgment will
steals it.
Will yoink away the Gold Fury, but really I don't think it matters. Rice Baby can honestly, they can go for fire right now.
They could. Instead, they're just going to chase down some more damage.
Or they can just kill people.
Will dash away.
Fine too.
Oh, comes through. Jack Frosty over the backside. Blinks trying to find damage. Can't find it. Instead, we'll have to settle for this Odin. Everyone's dashing, but they have forgotten that Tier 1 tower is still standing. Both members will get away, and Chiron's respawned as well.
Okay. Rice Baby kind of screwed that up.
Too much.
But
they went a bit too
they're
far.
doing it right. You know, they've got the fights in the correct locations. We're going to see the Cerberus possibly get picked here at his own Phoenix.
Why are we diving
Phoenix at 20?
Why are we diving Phoenix? Why are we diving a Phoenix when everything is still up on the left-hand side? Sunbreaker comes out just to disinter more. Odin looking to try and find something. Will come away with nothing. Rice Baby over-aggressive, and Spugg Squad just not able to punish.
If I'm Rice Baby's coach right now, if I'm Rice Baby's coach right now, I think I just went artificially bald because I just yanked all of my hair out. Because
I've not gone artificially bald. I've gone physically bald just because in the stress moment, I have literally, my hair is completely just gone.
Yeah, no, I mean, they played that really well, right? The Cerberus misplays, walks into a trap, and gets Athena taunted, and then dies. And then they kill the Huyi, who doesn't have beads, who is way overextended. This Pyromancer might be snuck here by Spugg Squad. But no, Rice Baby played that really well, but they just didn't follow up with getting things.
Went in aggressive. They're on their own here. No one else still here from Rice Baby to follow it up. Doesn't chase anything out. Puts a little bit of damage onto Odin, but it's an Odin. He's kind of expected to take damage.
Enhanced Fire is up right now, so I want to see Rice group on this and try to force it. Artemis is making the rotation towards the mid lane. This could be some fireworks. Artemis. Amaterasu dashes in.
Looking for it. Crush puts Chiron down very low. Half health now on the support Kerberos. Stygian Torment is available.
Stygian Torment not able to be successful. The Paralyzing Spit does stun out the Athena player. Spugg Squad posturing, but Rice Baby deletes Chiron. Amaterasu ult coming through. Ninja is gone. I'm a Monster's channeled onto the Huyi here, possibly, and just off the mark. Odin Cage on 3 rather. Chase will continue down to the mid lane. Rice Baby has clearly won this fight. 0 for 2. Spugg and Chiron taking a fall. And this is what we're talking about. It's just consistent CC coming out from Rice Baby's team, and this team is unbeatable in the team fight at this stage. Fire Giant will fall there in favor of Rice Baby. They're actually going to elect to just immediately push this T2 tower rather than looking to base here, which I like, because you know there's still players dead. On the side of Spugg Squad, they can grab this T2, maybe look to push some more waves, look for some cheeky invades on the speed buff. Maybe look at red. It's maybe a little greedy, but they could definitely. They're actually just going to go straight for the tower. No minions available, but Spugg Squad's not in a position to engage. Amaterasu, dazzling offensive coming through. That was a Deathbringer Hu Yi critical strike onto Amaterasu that hit for under 200 damage. That should just tell you where Spugg Squad is sitting at this point in the game. They just cannot do enough damage to physically kill any of the frontliners on Rice Baby, and eventually you have to get through those frontliners or the backline's just going to free cap. Tier 2. Gonna fall there. I think my man SuperSonicBlur's internet must have decided to take the day off because seems like he is disconnected from the voice channel. But we will we'll keep things rolling for you here. 30 minutes into the game, Spugg Squad has a massive uphill battle to climb, and JTA has done a ton of damage this game, but for me, it's the bottom of the damage charts that is winning this game for Rice Baby. The Athena play from Roosteroo has been just as good, if not even better, than what we saw in the first game. Rice Baby's looking to close this one out sub 40 minutes. Pretty strong here as they've all based. They've taken the opportunity to buy up. Looking at gold in hand right now. Everybody's under 1,000 on Rice Baby, and that's always a good look when you're pushing. If you don't have any gold in your items, the gold in your pocket is not doing anything unless your name is Fafnir, in which case you can back and just buy a better item anyway. Cerberus, who you kind of pushed up in the mid lane, but no follow-up immediately from Rice. Gonna look to split push the right lane as well as the mid lane. Strong play there from Jack Frosty. Still looking pretty good on the Ratatosker. Just had some maybe egotistical moments. I think we'll call them little whoopsie moments in the mid game there. We're gonna see some stuns coming out in the mid lane. This could be a siege opportunity that we're looking at. Through the Cosmos' channel, Thought Dash is down. Athena taunt coming in, not able to find somebody as Dazzling Offensive is going to slam onto the Thoth player, but in the backline, Odin's going in and is deleted. Amiz 5000 is going to delete Contrast. Rocket will finish up Chiron as Naja is up in the air, but I don't think that's going to be enough. JTA will claim his life as Toothless is going to kill Jack Frosty for diving the fountain. Doesn't matter how long the game's been going, and Final Judgment is charged, fired off, but only does about an eighth of the Amaterasu's health. Scylla able to Aegis it out. Great Athena taunt to save his life as the Titan is falling lower and lower, and this one should be a wrap here shortly. Still a little bit of defensive prowess there. JTA will fall to Toothless, but I think this Titan is going to be falling soon thereafter. Artemis going to be able to claim the life of the Titan in the end game. Great game there, honestly, from both teams. We saw what Spugg Squad needed to do in the mid game, right? They took their comp and they forced Amaterasu out of the fight. They took the 4v4s and were able to win them off of picks and off of good Toth ultimates, off of good Neja ultimates. They had all of the setup that they needed to perform what they needed to do in the mid game. And honestly, Chiron had some really good paralyzing spits as well. Toothless had some good plays in the early game, but then that Gold Fury fight, just they threw it all away. You know, your Hui is just beads, and he walks around to the back of the Gold Fury pit. Your Chiron, oh my goodness, your whatchamacallem, Cerberus steps into a trap right in front of an Athena, gets taunted, dies horribly, and Toothless is unable to make anything happen on the backhand side there. The Gold Fury fight, just really well played from Rice Baby. They took it and tried to throw it away with the Phoenix dive at that point, but they were able to eventually claim the game. Rice Baby. It's up to you guys to decide who the MVP is, but for my money, this one's sitting squarely on Roosteroo, and honestly, the first game could have as well. Just take a moment. You should be getting a poll. Be able to take your vote, though, because your opinion obviously matters more than mine. Because I'm just a caster. But we're going to... Honestly, if we're talking about players in this game that made a big impact on Spugg Squad's team. Toothless did have some good gameplay there, and he might have a good slash line, but the usage of the beads, and maybe he just needs a ultimate with CC immunity, because to me he played that game way too aggressively in order to pick the Hu Yi. He was unable to keep himself safe enough. Spugg had some good ultimates. Contrast had some good cages, but it was kind of like what I was talking at the beginning of the game. If all 5 of these players played their characters perfectly to a T, and none of them misplayed, I think Spugg Squad's draft is just anti-synergistic enough to be difficult to use, to say the least. And I think Rice Baby's draft is just insane, and whoever is calling the draft for Rice Baby did a wonderful job picking a beautiful mid to late game team fight composition that really got the job done. Rocket on the Amaterasu, we talk about that character as a great late game team fight character. She did make some good rotations with the Dazzling Offensive, but honestly, Contrast and Rocket really weren't involved in this game, despite the excellent slash line from Rocket. They rotated well in the late game and did what they needed to do, but just the team synergy was just much greater from Rice Baby. As Rooster, my man on the support, from a support main to a fellow support man, congratulations. You have earned yourself an MVP, and honestly, if I ever see you in a game, ever, which won't happen because I'm in A and you're EU, I'm banning Athena, or at least trying to pick it for you. Certainly, we appreciate everybody coming out. We appreciate the teams allowing us to spectate their games and bring you the action here. Everybody give me an F in chat for SuperSonicBlur. Hopefully his internet has not betrayed him. Thanks for coming out. It's been Smite Little League from myself, Illy, and my co-caster, who is definitely thinking about you all, SuperSonicBlur. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for showing up to the stream, and have a great afternoon.